Hi, thanks for tuning in. Today I wanted to share my wish list of 2018. I know we're already halfway through, but I kind of have a running wish list, if you will, and just because it's a wish list for this year doesn't necessarily mean I target to acquire every one of these pieces into my collection this particular year. But this is just kind of where the list stands today. Some items tend to run up and then they kind of get pushed down on the list and things like that. So at this moment in time, this is my wish list of items that I lust after and hope to add to my collection. First off, I just wanted to share some thoughts or my philosophy of acquiring new pieces to my collection. I'm not exactly the type of person who knows exactly what I want, researches that particular item, and then walks into the store already having my mind set on what I want to get. Typically, I have to see the item and I kind of know if I like it or not. It tends to speak to me at that moment, and that's what drives a bit of my purchasing decisions. What I do often walk into the store with, though, are some general guidelines or some guardrails of what I'm looking for. So, for example, it could be, I really think I need to add a black bag to my collection. That might just be the only piece of information or thought that I have when I go looking for a bag. Or maybe it's, I need to add a particular small leather good or SLG to my collection so that I can serve this function. But I don't go in knowing, oh, I want the Chanel O case in black caviar with silver hardware on it. Like, I'm more open to whatever colors they might have at the time. Typically for SLGs, I like brighter colors, and typically for bags, that one's just a lot up in the air. I can't really pinpoint. Depends on kind of what I see, what I'm in the mood for. Part of it's the season, things like that. So while this wish list is very true to how I add pieces to my collection, you might find that it's not overly specific in terms of what I want, but I just wanted to provide a little context around that. So the first item on my wish list is an Hermes Birkin in a size 25 or 30, and I know I would love it in a gray colorway. So my preferences for gray right now are more Etain over Etaupe. And I also really love Gris Moet, but I think I would be leaning more towards Etain, maybe even a graphite. I don't have any preference for leather, except that I don't think I would really want it to be like a box or Swift leather, because I just prefer having a little bit more of that texture going throughout. And the gray bag has to have silver hardware. So this, I think, is the most specific I get in terms of an item on my wish list, but because these are so hard to come by and everything like that, I don't know when I'll add it to my collection, but it's definitely there, standing pretty much at the top of my list of one that I hope to acquire. The next item on my wish list is actually also from Hermes. It's to get another pair of the Oran or even the Oasis sandals from Hermes. So for those of you who may have seen my Hermes collection video, you might know that I already own a pair of the Oran sandals in metallic silver. I absolutely love them. They are very comfortable, they're very stylish, and they just go with everything that I would love to have another pair in my collection. But I'm a little flexible whether it would be an Oran or an Oasis. The Oasis is essentially the same style, except it has a little kitten heel at the end. So that one I think I would just have to try on to see. In terms of colorway, I think it would be, because it's such a summery shoe, I think it would lean towards a lighter or brighter color, but it would probably still lean more neutral. So probably like a white, maybe even a gold, to add to my collection. The third item is also from Hermes, and it's actually to add a Clic H bracelet to my collection. I used to have a Clic H, which was the thinnest enamel bangle that they make. It was in black with gold hardware, but I actually sold that out of my collection, mostly because it was too big of a size for me and I was finding myself not really wearing it. I noticed that because the black and gold, even though it's such a classic color, I think for me it was a little too formal looking, and so I wasn't gravitating towards it. So I actually like the thicker size of the Clic H enamel bangles now, and also would love to have it with the rose gold hardware instead of the gold or silver. I am on a major rose gold kick, so I just love how that gold color, that pinkish gold, looks on my particular skin tone. So that's really what I'm leaning towards. But in terms of the actual color, besides the hardware specification, I don't really have a specific color in mind. I think it would be one of those things where I would have to go into the boutique and see what's available and see what kind of speaks to me. It would probably be in a more fun color though, just because I think the black ends up being a little too heavy for me, so I'd want one that's lighter, more fun, so that I can just wear it, throw it on more casually and things like that. The fourth item on my wish list is also from Hermes, but this is the last Hermes piece on my list. It is actually the Ulysse PM notebook cover and insert. This item has been on my wish list for a while, mostly because it seems like such a superfluous thing to want to add to my collection, but it is still something that has survived onto my list, and maybe this year will be the year I go and add it. I'm not quite sure yet, but I still handwrite a lot of my notes, whether it's for work or for other things, and so just based on all of that, I've always admired the notebook and just having that really luscious leather cover and all of that. So it's still on my list, and for this one I know I would want it to be in a bright color. So not necessarily bright in the sense of like it being like a real cobalt blue or like a lime, but more of it having a bit of color to it. So maybe it's kind of like a pinkish tone, or it can have some blues in it, but it doesn't have to necessarily be like an electric version of that. The fifth item on my wish list is actually a Chanel tweed bag. This is kind of a recent addition to my wish list, and it really started when I saw all the tweed bags that came out with the spring summer collection. And given I have a number of Chanel bags in my collection now, I figured it would be nice to add a new texture. So I was leaning towards some Chanel tweed bags, but for this past like spring summer collection, I ended up getting the mini flap in the PVC. So the tweed bag has to wait a little bit to come, but I'll keep my eyes peeled to see, you know, what kind of tweed bags come back, and hopefully Chanel doesn't take too long in bringing them back, because I know I just missed the last season. In terms of size, I think I would prefer it to be in a smaller size. I tend to like smaller bags anyway, and that's the majority of my collection, so probably a medium would be the largest size. The medium to large flat would be the largest size I would go for. Otherwise I would go for a mini flat. The sixth item on my wish list is also from Chanel. It is a card holder. So the card case, the flat one, not the one that has the push button closure up top, but one that has a really flat profile. I haven't been able to find one that I really like. I've seen a bunch online, but every time I end up going to the boutique, I don't find a style or a colorway that I really like. So because this is an SLG, I'd want it to be in a fun color, whether that's a metallic, whether that's a really bright color, whether it's just like a neon tone either. All of those are fine. I would just have to see the color to really know if it speaks to me. But so far I haven't been able to find a combination that I like. It doesn't even have to be the super classic, you know, just card holder with the CC. It could be, but it doesn't have to be. I know they make like a boy style, and they put some variations onto it, so I'm totally open to those as well. So it's more of like, what's the whole card case look like with the color and the design that's on it. The one style that I know I don't really care for the card cases are the Gabrielle style, where they've kind of emmed out or they have like a little trim at the bottom to look like the Gabrielle bag. For some reason, that one doesn't resonate with me, so I know that's not really a style I'd be looking for, but any of the other ones is fair game. Hardware is fine, ruthenium, silver, gold, champagne gold, all of that's good. So it's really just trying to find one that has the right color and style combination, but so far I've had very little luck in that. The next item, the 7th item on my wish list, is actually a pair of shoes. These are the Manolo Blahnik Hangisi heels in the gray satin in the 70 millimeter. So kind of like the Hermes Birkin, this is one of those more specific items on my wish list. I had previously gone to look at the Hangisi flats that I wanted to add them to my collection, but at that time I realized that the heels looked much better on my foot, so I ended up purchasing a different pair of flats. So the Hangisis are still on my list. The gray satin is a bit up in the air. That's the one variable that's a bit like not as solid as the rest of them, but the 70 millimeter heel is definitely a must because I can't walk in 100 millimeters that well anymore, so I definitely want to go for a slightly lower heel. And I just really like that extra fanciness that the buckle gives, but how you can still dress them down and still wear them casually. So they've been on my wish list for a while, so hopefully I can add them to my collection soon, but as of now they're just a bit lower on my list because there's some other guys that I'd like to acquire first. The 8th item on my wish list is another pair of shoes, and these are actually the Gucci loafers. Now they might end up being the Loafer Mules or just the regular loafers. I'm not 100% sure just yet. I have had the Loafer Mules in my collection. Like, I've purchased them before, but then I ended up returning them because I didn't know if they would really fit in my wardrobe and how I would incorporate them and all of that. So I ended up returning them, and they were also like in that loud, what was it called, like Ghost Princetown print or something like that. It was like the graffitied style, so they were a little too loud for me, and I decided that, you know, if I were to get them, I would get them in a more simple color. So if they are the mule style, I would want them maybe in a pink or a white, just in a lighter color, because I know I'd wear them in the warmer months. If I get them in the full loafer style, I think I'd gravitate more towards the black loafers, but I'd be open to some other colors as well. But I have a feeling this might be something that I end up adding to my collection a little bit sooner than the other items, but it's been on there for a couple years now, so I think I'm gonna try to figure out if I, you know, really want to go for it, or maybe it's just not for me and I should just drop it off of my wish list. The 9th item on my wish list is a Van Cleef and Arpels Sweet Alhambra rose gold necklace. So they have this style that doesn't have the mother of pearl on it, and it's just like a hammered rose gold, and it's in like a smaller style. I like that design, and I think I'd want to add it to my collection just for me to wear every day. As you can see, I wear necklaces like constantly. I don't take them off, and I prefer them to just be in solid gold, or at least gold plated, so that I don't have to like take them off when I shower and all of that stuff. So that's the style that stands out the most to me from Van Cleef and Arpels, and it follows my rose gold theme. So definitely interested in adding that to my collection. Now the 10th item on my wish list is a very, very recent addition. It's the Fendi Bucket Bag, and I first saw this a few weeks ago in one of HRH Collections videos, Alex's videos, and it just really stood out to me. I just really liked the shape of it. I like the little bit of logo. I don't know what it was about it, but I just saw it and I was like, this is actually a really cute bag. So and it's small, and you guys all know that I wear really small bags all the time, so that's something that recently got added. I don't know if it will last, and it might just be one of those items that I get very excited about for a few weeks, and then, you know, it might fall off the wish list. But right now it's there. I'm excited for it to be there, and I still like it. I look at it and I lust after it, and I still definitely think it would be a cute addition to my collection, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So that's it, guys. Those are the 10 items on my wish list today, and you know, maybe we'll see how the year unfolds and how many of these I end up acquiring and how many of them fall off the list. I think it would be a fun thing to do periodically, just to see how my wish list has updated over time. If you've liked this video, please let me know. Give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to leave them down below or head on over to Instagram, and I'd be happy to help however I can. If you also head over to Instagram, you'll be able to see whether or not I acquire these pieces. I'm sure I'll be posting a lot of pictures if I do. And let me know what items you have on your wish list. I'd love to hear what must-haves or items you're lusting after right now. I post videos here every Sunday, so if you'd like to be one of the first people who know that I've posted a video, then feel free to subscribe, and you'll be one of the first to be able to watch it. So until next time, bye!